Drop it on the random.
What up, y'all? Welcome to another edition of That Time in Hip Hop, a podcast about history, nostalgia, but more importantly, the preservation of hip hop music and culture. I am your host, Vegas of Hip Hop Now podcast. With me, as always, the homie Tony of IntoTheDome.com. What's good, bro?
Hey, man. Everything is good. Sipping a cold one tonight. Living life.
You know he black when he got like the spades cards on the glass. Like they only sell that in black neighborhoods.
Hey, keep it real. As they used to say.
But yo, if you are watching this for the first time or maybe listening to the audio for the very first time, this is a podcast where we talk about everything in hip hop music, culture, whether that be artists, whether that be entrepreneurs, record labels, films, all kinds of stuff. And what we do is we talk about the facts, we talk about what our experience was, talk about any rumors there might be, and we usually look towards the future, whether it's the influence of that event or that album or that artist and how it connected to the future. All of this is comprehensive hip-hop breaking down-ins. I just made that last part up, but you know what I'm talking about. And we like to do a segment called This Week in Hip Hop. And on September 1st, 1988, Marley Marl, legendary producer out of Queensbridge, put out the compilation album In Control Volume 1. Tone, Marley Marl, Juice Crew, Cold Chillin' Records, In Control Volume 1, The Legacy. What was your thoughts when you first heard everything that had to do with this man and in particular this album?
Well, Marley Marl, for some crazy reason, doesn't get the props he deserves as the legendary producer that he is, because a lot of people learned from Marley, took his style leading on to the late 80s and early 90s. You know what I'm saying? So he's the first, to me, super producer. Yeah, you still had Larry Smith and other guys before him that made incredible work, but he was a face as well. You know what I'm saying? He didn't say much, but you saw him. You saw Marley. Mm-hmm. I was like one of the first, super producers, man. And when he did the Control Volume 1, he was really showcasing the Juice Crew. And it's really first that we've ever seen in that regard, because before Marley Marl, most people they might have been in crews in terms of touring, but they weren't a big conglomerate, big crew. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he was the first of that, introducing various artists at one time. Someone was bubbling a little bit anyway. But when you have Craig G, who was very dope, you had MC Shan, who was a superstar at one point for a short period of time. Nice. You had the Symphony on In Control Volume 1, which is still considered by many hip hop aficionados as a top 5 posse cut. You know what I mean? When you have Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, Master Ace, who was really underrated at that time, and Craig G, who was like a street legend and battle rapper at the time and freestyle king. So you had Roxanne. Shantae was the first, one of the first young superstars, especially young. She's like the queen of as far as females. I think you had Funky 4+1 before her, but Shantae is the first female kind of superstar leading into Salt and Pepper and all of that. So In Control Volume 1, man, was like a showcase. Marley had his own signature production that he started to really dig into on this album, and then you saw that in all of the other albums that he totally produced for each artist and things like that. So yeah, man, I thought it was pretty dope, and it was legendary because it was really the first of its kind, man. And after that, you had other compilations and stuff that leading all the way up to now, but he was really the architect of like the hip hop kind of compilation and showcase.
Yeah, I feel you on that, because I kind of feel like you said, like he's a little underappreciated in the game for kind of being that first guy, like, producer, super producer, whatever you want to call him. Like hip hop had these periods in time where, one producer was doing production for most of the dopest stuff that was coming out. And that was the it producer. Like, he worked with Paid in Full. You know what I'm saying? And he worked with all these artists that Tone named. And like to have a compilation album with Juice Crew, like Dropping Science was my joint back in the day.
Yeah,
That just the energy of that record is crazy.
yeah. Craig
And
G.
then yeah, exactly, with Craig G. And when he dropped the symphony and with the video, and now you get to see him really all together on a song, it was just something special about that, because it's one thing to know a group like N.W.A that got a couple of dope MCs and they're part of this group. It's another thing where you had these solo artists who, you know, you never really think of them as together until you think of the Juice Crew and you see all the collaborations, and most of them on Cold Chillin' Records.
Right.
You know, you see something there that's kind of like, damn, this is almost like a no-brainer, until you later start to see other crews pop up like Native Tongue and some label related crews like Bad Boy and Death Row and stuff like that. But yeah, man, In Control is an album that's ahead of its time in that regard, and it's almost a shame. I don't know what the situation is because I didn't really research this part, but it's really hard to find on a streaming service. I don't know. Yeah. Like, is it available anywhere? Is it on Tidal? I know it's not on Spotify. Check.
No, I didn't see it in a lot of places, man. I just think I had it on, the old CD from years and years ago. Oh, shout out to Tragedy Gaddafi also, because Tragedy Gaddafi had a few songs on there.
Yeah.
And also there was with Heavy D on it too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I just want to give Tragedy his props. Just real quick, Bag, since we're on this Queensbridge thing. I was listening to Nas Lost Tapes 2 the other day again. And the song that Nas has, Queensbridge Politics, he said in there, Marley Marl changed rap sounds, perfect timing, something like that. So he mentioned Marley several times on Queensbridge Politics, man. And again, I was glad he did that, because a lot of times we overlook Marley's legendary contribution, and we can go on and on. And I would just tell any listeners, if you're not very familiar with the Juice Crew and In Control Volume 1 and Marley Marl as the producer, please Google and look him up, man. Legendary, one of the greatest minds in hip hop history, man. You know what I'm saying? So when you think of guys that after him, like the RZAs and Lost and Felton and all these guys, he's like the architect of all these different guys, man, who end up being legends in the game, man. So just shout out to Marley Marl, man, and In Control Volume 1.
Yeah, definitely. If you're a younger cat and you love how Young Money comes together as a crew, back in the day, if you love what I'm saying, J. Cole and his crew, if you love these crews and it just seems like normal stuff to you because it's been happening, this was really like the first time it was done on this level with a label and a compilation and kind of a movement behind it, between their collaborations on different records. The ironic part is, like, Master Ace was kind of, like you said, kind of slept on in the crew, but he's the one that had the longest career, basically.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? As far as being relevant.
Good music.
Yeah, exactly. Which is crazy. And he rapped the same. And it don't sound old today, which is crazy. So shout out to Master Ace.
Shout out to Master Ace.
But definitely, if you were a hip hop head and maybe you never bought it, or maybe you're a younger cat and you never heard it, and maybe you only listen on Apple Music or one of those things, you know what I'm saying? Go online. I'm sure it's on Amazon somewhere. You need to own this. It's a piece of history. You know what I'm saying? It's a moment in time where there wasn't really rap crews like that. It was like Juice Crew was a big deal. Featuring a number of dope MCs like Tone Names. But let's get into the main part of the show. And the main part of the show is, something that's playing in the background, but it's a little bit deeper than that, man. Tone, tell the people what we're here to talk about.
Man, we're here to talk about Straight Outta Compton, the hip-hop biopic for, N.W.A. Anticipating that, hearing rumors about a motion picture being based on their lives, I was a little nervous at first, because a lot of biopics before that, or biopics, however you want to say it, they left a lot to be desired, and so when I was hearing about this, I'm like, oh, this is this is a super group. This is a legendary time in hip hop. They have to get the casting right. That the production must be correct. They got to have the right budget, And then I started hearing that Ice Cube and Dr. Dre was involved, and I was very happy to hear that because obviously Ice Cube's history in Hollywood has been very successful and very good. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, we know that Ice Cube is about his quality. You know what I'm saying? We know he has financial means. We know Dr. Dre has financial means. So I didn't think that they would play themselves. So leading up to it, and then I saw the trailer, I was like, okay, it looks like something special. So seeing the movie, it felt like a big budget movie, which it was. In terms of they spent around $50 million on the budget, not 3 or 4 million, and it was on Lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. So it was a $50 million budget. It ended up making over $200 million. You know what I'm saying? So I was happy about the way they put it together. You know what I mean? So we're going back to just thinking about N.W.A. You know what I'm saying? I was excited going to the movies, man. And, this is not one of the ones I was going to watch on a Fire Stick. You know what I'm saying? Or watch on a bootleg. It deserved true hip-hop fans' attention. It deserved to do the numbers that it did. It deserved for us who love the culture to actually go to the movie theater to see it, man. So my first impression of it was, wow, this is a big-budget movie. Let me sit back with my popcorn and my soda and enjoy it, man. So just thinking about when you first heard about it, vague rumors about it, then leading up to you going to see it, what were your initial thoughts?
I think I was kind of like you. I think when I first heard about it, I was skeptical because I was just like, N.W.A. Like your first thought is it got to be right. You know what I'm saying? Because of who it is, it can't be what another neighborhood thought about it. It got to be what hip hop thought about it. It got to be authentic to the hip hop fan. And then, like you said, I heard Dre and Ice Cube was involved, so I was kind of like, okay, but who's directing it? You know what I'm saying? And then I heard who was directing it was F. Gary Gray, right?
F. Gary Gray, and his list of movies speaks for itself.
Exactly. So when I heard he was doing it, that's when I was like, okay, now this is going from being a nostalgia trip to actually probably being a good movie. You know what I'm saying? And then I was, I heard about the casting. I was cool with the Ice Cube's son, O'Shea Jackson Jr. role, but I never seen him act, so I didn't know. Then some of the other choices, I would look because the Ren choice is just terrible. It's a terrible choice. Yeah, he barely had lines in the movie anyway. They could have just got someone that looked like him. You know what I'm saying? They could have got somebody who just looked like him. But when I looked at the other casting choices, and I think I didn't care as much about the casting choices except for Eazy-E initially, because I was wondering, like, all right, who's playing Eazy? Because he ain't here to say he should play me or I like this guy, or even to show them, about himself or tell them about himself.
Yes.
And like you said, when I saw the trailer, I was in. Soon as I saw the trailer, I was in because the trailer just personified the group, the energy. Like, you seen AK-47s, you seen Jerry Curls, you seen Hotel, you seen fights, like, and the music, you know what I'm saying? Like everything about the trailer basically said, yeah, this is what you thought it was going to be. So I was excited, just like you.
Yeah, you know what, too? Going back to the Eazy-E thing, I was very nervous about that. Because to me, some other, your Rens and your Yellows and all of those guys, you can kind of, you can find someone, they're not going to have but so many parts to me. Because I was going to think that it's about Eazy-E, Ice Cube, and Dr. Dre, to be honest. And then, the other guys are going to show a little bit of them, but they're not going to be the focal points. Eazy-E ended up being the focal point to a degree of the movie. You know what I'm saying? And Jason Mitchell, the actor that played Eazy, he's a respected actor. He's the lead actor in the hits Showtime series, The Shy. You know what I'm saying? He's played in a lot of other movies, so you knew that you had a strong lead.
Well, that was after Straight Outta Compton.
After that, but I'm just saying, you're right. I had seen him on some smaller, shows and stuff like that. And it was cool to see him on the shot afterwards. But again, I had seen him before, and I thought that his acting was very good. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And Paul Giamatti, who played Jerry Heller. I mean, he's on that hit show on Showtime, Billions, and he's been in Hollywood for 20, 30 years in a lot of respected roles. He's a very respected actor. I actually think he's won a couple of awards before. You know what I'm saying? So to have that kind of credibility, was huge. And I think everybody else did a great job. I even like the guy that played Yeller. The Ren situation, not sure how that happened. The guy was very tall and slim, and he just didn't look like MC Ren. I don't even understand how that happened. I think the guy that did Dre did a good job. He had a lot of Dre's mannerisms and things like that. He did well. The guy that did DOC he did a good job with the limited role. The guy that did Suge did a good job. So the acting was good to me. You know what I'm saying? I think the Eazy-E part and the Tupac part could have just got scrapped. But overall, it was a success, man. And they dig deep into the lives of all the guys and really dig deep into Eazy-E. You know what I'm saying? And I like the way they did it. Now, of course, and we'll get to this again, who knows what's some of it, of course, is made for TV in terms of you got to embellish a few things, for entertainment purposes. But they said it was pretty authentic. But the guy Alonzo or whatever from the Worldwide Wrecking Crew, he was on Vlad TV. He had some pretty interesting comments about the movie. He said he enjoyed the movie, but of course, and we can talk about it later in the show, he had his own take on some of the characters and some of the instances that was portrayed on there, man. But overall, I was happy because outside of 8 Mile, which was a motion picture, most of them kind of felt like I would have been okay seeing them on Netflix, like the Roxanne. I'd have been okay with seeing.
Well, before we get into those, let's like hit those later.
Gotcha. Okay.
But okay, so you enjoyed the movie when you saw it.
I did.
What did you like? One thing. All right, let me say this. One of the things that I guess I took away from the movie, like after I left, because it kind of relates to what's happening now with the Wu-Tang series or whatever. I haven't watched the episode yet. Probably will soon. Most people are zeroing in on who looks like and acts like who. And sometimes you can't do that, because that's what I tried to dispel with the whole Ren thing. It was just that he didn't, because the guy who plays him is a great actor. It's just that he didn't have many lines. So it was kind of like, well, if you're going to stray that far away from the way Ren looks, you might as well get a dude that looks like Ren that can get those couple of lines off and not go get this actor. You're not really going to use him like that. You know what I'm saying? But as far as the role of Eazy-E, Eazy-E was lighter. But you talk about somebody embodying a person to the point where you feel like that is Eazy-E. May not sound like him, may not look like him, but that's kind of what they wanted. Now, I think that's what they're trying to do with the Wu-Tang thing with some of the choices. I don't know, but I know with that movie, I kind of felt like, yeah, I'm watching N.W.A. and that's Dre and that's Easy, and you know what I'm saying? And
he had the spirit of Eazy-E, the energy of Eazy-E. Even when he walked out on that "We Want Easy," the way he kind of pimped on out there. If you go back and look at the real video of "We Want Easy," the way he came out, that's the way Eazy-E came out. You know what I'm saying? His whole pop and everything, he had the vibe of Eazy-E, man. So I think as well as you can embody someone who's not here to kind of guide you the same way Dre and Q was on set, guiding O'Shea Jr. and Dre guiding the guy that played him, and Yellow on the set, and DOC was probably on the set. You know what I'm saying? And I know Eazy-E's wife was one of the producers also, but it's different when you don't have Eazy here to guide his guy. So, obviously this guy, Jason Mitchell, did his homework on Eazy-E. He probably watched a lot of videos and interviews and stuff like that, man. And so I can't be mad. He was actually the lead person in the movie, and he carried it all the way through, man. Did a phenomenal job. And also with Jerry Heller, with Paul Giamatti, is the same thing again, where he's a established, successful Hollywood actor who brought that experience He probably gave them tidbits on the set and everything because
Yeah.
he probably was somewhat of a mentor role to a degree because of his history in Hollywood, his experience.
Yeah. Well, one thing, like you said, like, and you can answer this too. Like, I know when I sat down and the movie started, when I saw, when it came on the screen, of course I leaned over to my wife like, yo, that's Eazy-E. But I think the moment I was locked in was like, yo, they starting this movie with the 80s, basically drug deal gone bad scene. Not on stage, not somebody writing rhymes, straight up Eazy-E in the game. And I was like, oh, this is real. Like, this is already good. You know what I'm saying? What was that moment for you where you felt like this wasn't just, a movie to capitalize over the popularity of former rappers or whatever?
I wish I could be creative and say something different than what you just said, but that moment when it first came on, Eazy popped the trunk, what have you, and that music on, he walked through, up to the house and everything like that. That whole vibe reminded me of Menace to Society. You know what I'm saying? It gave that big feel, West Coast energy. You know what I'm saying? And also knowing that I watched so many interviews with people talking about Eazy-E, and even a guy Alonzo from Worldwide Wrecking Crew, he talked about, well, Q was a good student in school and Dre was a DJ and all this stuff, but Eazy-E, he said, and I'm not gonna lie to you. He said Eazy had money. He said Eazy-E, he did a little bit of dirt in the street and he funded N.W.A. It was his money. Alonzo even said that. You know what I'm saying? And other interviews saw people who was close to them said the same thing. So that stuff wasn't a lot. He was in the street. He was affiliated. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of not a secret or something. You know what I'm saying? So his reputation was true. So it was cool seeing them showing the essence of kind of Eazy-E's start and how he could have got killed that day, which he probably had situations in his life before he was rapping, where it was probably similar to that. You know what I'm saying? So it was cool to see that, and it made me feel like, okay, it's real. Then the second scene is when Dr. Dre was laying there in the bed listening to music, vibing. You know what I'm saying? And I could feel that because with him being the musical genius that he is, you can tell he's been focused and concentrated on music his entire life, man. So I think the way it started off gave you the feeling that this is going to be something special that people will talk about for a long time, man. So just initially, it felt like it was going in the right direction, and of course, it did go in the right direction.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think what those scenes did was establish the characters and let you know that this is Eazy. This is what he's doing. This is where he coming from. This is his motivation in this one scene. Same thing with Dre. Same thing with Q. You know what I'm saying? It established them early. Like, if you didn't know them from being a fan, you kind of knew them from watching the movie. Like, oh, okay, this guy's really into music and this guy's really smart. You know what I'm saying? And he already writes rhymes. And this guy's a drug dealer who's tired of jumping out of windows.
Right.
He wants to do something else. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was smart of them, and it was pretty dope. Like you said, man, highly successful movie. You know what I'm saying? For that also came with Dr. Dre's inspired album Compton, which is really dope. But Tone, this is the thing. There's been a couple of biopics before it and after it, and we can name some of them and just break down what we liked or didn't like and why we think they don't compare to Straight Outta Compton. Like, to you, Straight Outta Compton, is that the best hip-hop biopic movie hands down?
Yes, it is the best one, and it goes back to one of my initial comments. The budget, I felt like, well, I know they put the money in it, which allows you to have F. Gary Gray to use his cinematography, if you will, and give it that big feeling. Because I think F. Gary Gray did The Negotiator and all these big movies. You know what I mean? So it had a big movie feel, very clear. You know what I'm saying? As far as like It just felt right. The acting in terms of having some, established actors. Of course, Ice Cube's son, this was like his first time out, but you're also mentored by someone who's been acting since Friday. You know what I'm saying, with his dad. So 1995. So you had those ingredients, and I just think that it was well thought out. I thought that they established the main characters and dig deep into their lives. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to go that detail in a movie with multiple characters, but I think as well as they could, I think people are more interested in Eazy-E, Dr. Dre, and Ice Cube. You know what I mean? So they gave you those three as much as they could and still dabbled in with other people who was involved, even the Death Row situation with Suge and all of that. They did their best to encompass everything they could. But I think the writing was good. It didn't feel rushed and pushed and anything like that. Like some other movies, it's like, they probably should have waited and took the time on a little bit more. I don't know what else they could have done for the N.W.A. movie. It was 2 hours and 40 minutes. It led all the way up to Eazy-E passing away. It showed, the emotion around that, and things of that nature. So I have no complaint about it. I looked at it again a few months ago, and I was like, wow, man, this is a really good movie, man. Like, there wasn't too many cringe moments in Straight Outta Compton. It just felt right, you know what I mean? And then, I went back and watched a lot of interviews with people who was involved in it and who knew these guys, and it wasn't too much backlash, man. I will tell you this real quick though. Lonzo from Worldwide Wrecking Crew was talking about, there was a scene in there when they played Boys in the Hood, and Lonzo was like, man, nobody want to hear that shit. That's you need to make stuff for the radio and all that. Well, his interview on Vlad TV, he said he laughed about that part because it was a total opposite. He said when he heard it, he told them, hey man, I actually think y'all got something. You know what I'm saying? Even though it ain't my style of music, I think you got something. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he said that much. There was also some discrepancies, just real quick, about what happened with Suge Knight and that contract with Eazy-E, because BG Knockout, a few other people said, yeah, and I think Mob James as well, they were kind of like, absolutely, Eazy didn't get beat up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, now, I think they did try to strong arm him, you know what I'm saying, and tried to threaten him. And so Jerry Heller did say before he passed away that Eazy did come to his house and was like, I think I'm about to kill Suge Knight. You know what I'm saying? Jerry Heller said that Eazy said that to him in real life. And he said, listen, man, you got everything to lose. You can't do that. So that part of the movie, when it showed Eazy in Jerry's by his pool in the backyard, he said that part did kind of happen like that. You know what I'm saying? So obviously Eazy he playing no shooting Suge Knight. He would have done. I mean, we probably wouldn't have certain things that Suge as a businessman was a part of, but man, there would have been a lot of people without a lot of problems. I'll tell you that. So that part was, but that just goes back again to, a lot of people giving their 2 cents about who's involved in. And overall, it was an authentic movie, man. And I felt like it hit the mark, unlike other biopics or biopic, excuse me. And I have no complaints, man. I mean, I wish it was 30 more minutes on to the movie, man. I just couldn't get enough of it. I was sad when it.
I felt the same way. I think it's the best. And I'm gonna toss this question to you also. I think it's the best for the same reasons you said. It did feel like, I mean, I know there were a lot of people like Arabian Prince and others who, was saying, yeah, I was there for this and they didn't show this and that, but that's when dudes ain't being realistic, man. The movie can't be 5 hours long. Like, they can't cover everything. There was some like Michelle A feeling like, the abuse needed to be in there if they're gonna show everything else with Dre. But again, you don't want to detract from the story. And not only that, like, what's the goal of the movie? The goal of the movie is N.W.A. And like Tone said, Eazy, Dre, Cube. And those 3 threads they can't really go but so deep into each one. They can really only touch on it and mostly touch on some of the stuff we know. And then they also have to play it up for the film. You know, it's a form of entertainment. Like if you want a documentary, go find one or make one. Then you can include everything. But in this case, it had to be an entertaining film also. And I think that's what made it great. Now, for me, Tone, my favorite scene in the film, probably because I'm a huge Cube fan, this is on my favorite album of all time. But the No Vaseline joint, when they played Ice Cube's diss towards N.W.A, I was shocked that they played the whole song.
They really did.
I was sitting there like, oh, they're going to hit one verse and that's it. But they literally played the whole song. Now, of course, Ice Cube is, you know, a part of it, but still, the whole song.
Yeah.
But the thing is I think what I liked about that was N.W.A.'s reaction to it was almost like hip hop's reaction when we heard it.
Yeah.
We couldn't believe what we were hearing. You know what I'm saying? And he was going in. So that's my favorite scene. Tone, what's your favorite scene in the movie?
You know, actually, my favorite scene might have been when those kids on the bus throwing little gang signs up at the dudes in the car.
Oh yeah.
They stopped the bus. They made the bus driver open the door, and them dudes got on that bus, and he was like, "Yeah, what's up with it?"
Yeah.
You know, like, don't get quiet now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kind of like when they put the gun at that dude, like, you need to be damn gang banging them books. He said, cause you know, he's basically letting them know how real it was. He said, and I'll be the one there to get you. You know what I'm saying? And he was just, you know, it was really crazy because it showed you how some kids don't understand the reality of the gang culture, and they playing around, they playing with their lives. And these guys live by it for real. They died. You know what I'm saying? They fight these wars. And I just thought that was a deep moment for some kids who went to a nice school who trying to be involved in something they have no idea what their life is about, man. You know what I'm saying? And that was one of my favorite parts of the movie.
All right, so let's talk about hip-hop biopics that were released before and after, and you know, some of our brief thoughts on it. I'm just going to route off a couple. To me, these were the ones that released noteworthy because they wasn't complete trash, or maybe they were, but probably more so the ones that were more popular. Let me say that. Get Rich or Die Trying. Tone, 50 Cent, his biopic. Things kind of turned around. Basically got added BC as Supreme basically in the movie. When you saw Get Rich or Die Trying, did you think this was a good hip-hop biopic?
Not really, but I thought it was an entertaining little movie. You know what I'm saying? I thought it had its moments when it was kind of entertaining. I thought there were a few actors in there that did a good job. You know, I didn't go back multiple times to watch it like I did Straight Outta Compton, but it was a solid effort for what it's worth. It wasn't bad or anything like that. It just wasn't like great to me. I could have seen that one on, you know, TV. That could have been a USA original or Lifetime original or Netflix special, something like that. It just, for me, it wasn't a major motion picture quality for me, but I'm not mad at it. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was just solid, man. It's okay.
Yeah, I think I felt the same way. I've only seen it once. Never really felt the need to watch it again.
No.
I think because I knew so much about 50 Cent's story, I kind of wanted something better because his story could be right along the lines with this.
It could have been.
As far as the griminess, but like you mentioned earlier, budget and like really getting the right actors. This was the first time 50 Cent really was acting, so he was kind of wooden. He's not like he is now, where he's a little bit better at it. So it was cool, but there was just a lot of it probably would have been better as a TV movie. Because then a couple of things that were in there and a couple of choices they made would have made more sense, but wasn't nothing that I felt like I could go back to. All right, so the next one, 8 Mile, the movie about Eminem. What you think about that joint?
I actually thought 8 Mile was a very good movie. You know what I mean? I know it's loosely based on Eminem. I know he was B Rabbit in the movie and what have you, but I like the actors in the movie. We had Mekhi Phifer in the movie, a couple other noteworthy actors in the movie, and his mother was played by oh man, her name is pretty big actress, man. Her name escapes me right now. Bessinger, I think her last name is Bessinger or something like that.
Oh, Kate. That's I know who you're talking about.
I can't remember. I'm sorry.
You could look it up.
Or something like that. But anyway, I thought it was very good, very entertaining.
Kim Basinger.
Yes, you're right.
Kim Basinger.
Kim Basinger.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. You know what I mean? And I thought it was a big budget movie, which it was. It made a lot of money, like Outta Compton did. It had the big cinematography look. You had Brittany Murphy, who passed away. She was one of the actresses in it. The battle scenes were pretty authentic because everybody know you can go back and look at old video of Eminem battle. He was a battle rapper. You know what I'm saying? So that was authentic. It had some grimy times in it, parts in it that was good. And then also had that real, that realism of him being in a trailer park and being poor and trying to find his way and little odd jobs. And it didn't make him a superhero. It really felt like the way Eminem had done his like 2 albums before the movie came out. It felt like the Slim Shady. It felt like the Marshall Mathers LP. You know what I mean? So it felt authentic to me. You know what I'm saying? And it looked like what you had heard already from Eminem through his lyrics. You know what I'm saying? So I really thought it was good. The DVD bonus scenes of the extended battles, and then when he actually went and Eminem actually battled some of the people in the crowd and stuff like that, I thought that was dope extra footage. But the movie made 240 million and Strata Compton made 200 million. Those are two highest grossing biopics, man. And yeah, man, I thought 8 Mile was dope. 8 Mile soundtrack was dope.
Yeah. All right, so we got a couple, but real quick, I had never saw 8 Mile when it came out. I'm like the only one who never saw it. I didn't see it in the movies. Then when it came out on DVD, I don't know what I was doing, what I was into, but I was just slow getting to it. So I never really saw the movie from beginning to end. What I did see, because I felt like I had to, was when I was told that Eminem's verses in a battle rap were off the dome.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
He wanted to freestyle his verses in real time as if he was in a real battle. So he didn't know what the other actors or MCs or whatever were going to say. He was just going to rebuttal that with a live on set freestyle. And I was just like, okay, I got to watch those at least. So it's a movie I got to watch at some point.
You got to watch it.
Even my wife's seen it, but I just never got around to actually watching it.
It's worth it.
All right. So the next one, Too Legit, the movie about MC Hammer. Tone, what do you think about that joint?
Dude, I only saw it one time and on TV, of course, and it was just a formality because I like music so much. I'll watch anybody's biopic. You know what I'm saying? I'll watch one on whoever. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, Hammer's life to me wasn't all that interesting. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. I appreciate Hammer, what he did for Oakland. Hammer is tied to the streets for real, like we talked about episodes before last year. You know what I'm saying? Hammer ain't no joke. He ain't no trouble. You know what I'm saying? So he a real dude, believe it or not. A lot of people don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get the dancers confused. Hammer and his brother and his family, they connected in Oakland, man. Like, he legit, man. So, but at the end of the day,
too legit.
Yeah, too legit to quit. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it just really wasn't a good movie like that. But I appreciate MC Hammer for the culture, though, no doubt.
Yeah, it was whack. It was a TV movie, I believe.
It was, of course.
And I think then this is before like those Aaliyah and TLC movies, Whitney Houston and Bobby, where everybody had jokes. Everybody kind of had jokes about this because MC Hammer had kind of become a parody. You know what I'm saying? Like almost a joke with the pants and the dancing and stuff like that. So when he released, when you had this movie, and especially when the movie, like Tone said earlier, doesn't have a big budget and is really only tapping into the things you already know or the cliches and not really digging into the soul of the man and what made him, and like even the street stuff, you know what I'm saying? People look at it like it's just a character, and it's terrible. So again, like Tone said, watched it once because it was there and then never looked at it again. Another one, we got 3 more. Another one, Notorious, the story of the Notorious B.I.G. Tone, Notorious came out. What was your thoughts?
Well, first let me say, in hindsight, I really wish Biggie would have had the budget that N.W.A. biopic had. Because I think that with that budget and with the way they did the movie, it could have been an incredible movie. Angela Bassett in it, and just a lot of good actors in it. I think it really depicted Biggie's life. I think they did a good job with, as far as like telling the story throughout up until the end. I thought it was put together well with a small budget, so it left a lot to be desired in terms of visually. Visually, some of it was cheesy to me, but the intentions was right to me, and the way they put it together was right to me. It just, to me, didn't have enough money and backing to make Biggie Smalls' picture be what it could have been. But I think the storyline, I thought the storyline was very good, man. So, I didn't go to the movies. No, I'm lying. I did go to the movie to see it, but I probably would have been a lot more pleased if I would have seen it like at home on a big screen and just watched it at home as a TV movie. I'd have been like, yo, it was very good. But for the big theater, it was just solid. But like I said, the vision was right. Unfortunately, wasn't able to be executed with what they had. And how if Gary Gray did it, it would have been totally different. But for what they had, for what they was working with, I commend the effort. Not mad at it. A couple of times I'm switching the TV, it might be on, nothing's on. I might sit back and lay back with a brew and just watch it from wherever they are in the movie. I'm not mad at it. I'll do that with it.
Yeah.
What about you?
Like you said, I think the story was on point. I think the where they were going from beginning to end with the story, like where they started and where they ended up, I thought that was perfect. I thought Gravy's performance as the Notorious B.I.G., aka Smalls, I thought it was perfect.
Yeah.
He sound like Big, you know what I'm saying? And that kind of made you feel like he was Big. He had a lot of his mannerisms down.
Yeah, he did.
It was really scary to watch, almost, you know what I'm saying? But like Tone said, with a better budget, you could have filled out that cast with a couple of other actors, or you could have gave at least the movie a certain look. Like when you look at Straight Outta Compton, it's polished. That movie looks
very
polished.
much so.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas there were times where Notorious felt big in certain scenes, and then other scenes it felt like it was a Lifetime BET movie.
That's
you
true.
Know what I'm saying? It was just a lot of moments that was just iffy. I didn't see it in the movies. I saw it at home, but I kind of walked away.
You're a Brooklyn dude, man.
What'd you say?
Come on, man. You're a Brooklyn dude. What you ain't seen the Notorious in the theater, man?
Yeah. Sorry, man. I can't. I
own
all Biggie albums. The movie looks shaky to me in them commercials. So
you still gotta support BK, man. I'm disappointed, man.
Well, if everybody from Brooklyn was in charge of the film, then sure. But it's just about a Brooklyn dude. I can't do that. I don't have that level of support. But at the end of the day, it's a film. I got to be enticed as a film goer, and I was iffy about it. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot that I was getting excited for. Like, damn, what's the name of the actor that played Puff? Damn, I can't remember his name. It's on the
Derek, is it
like
Derek Luke?
yeah, something like that or whatever. But no, yeah. I think that is his name.
Yeah, I think it's his name.
I was watching like the behind the scenes like before the movie came out, and there was one scene they was filming and he was dancing exactly like Puff, and I was like, man, this movie's gonna be crazy. But then that was never in the movie, and there was never a moment in the movie where, and I'm talking about, you know, actually doing signature steps instead of just dancing and saying that's Puff. Like signature steps, at least what I saw him doing in practice was like, yo, he's dancing like Puff, but he just didn't really embody him in the same way. Puff could be really obnoxious, and he wasn't obnoxious. He just sounded excited. You know what I'm saying? And it's a big difference between an obnoxious, excited dude and a dude who's just like, oh, I'm hyped. Because
you know what? And Anthony Mackie playing Tupac just didn't do it for me.
Oh man, see, and look, that's why I ain't go to the movies, man. Like Anthony Mackie playing Tupac, like again, and he only had a couple of lines. He only had some small scenes.
But it was cringeworthy.
Yeah, it was, because it was like, there go Falcon getting shot in the damn elevator, and you're not Tupac. You're not Tupac. You're just angry Anthony Mackie, man. Like so. Yeah. But yeah, not the worst movie. You know, I definitely will watch it again, but wasn't really big on it. All right, two more. All Eyes on Me, the Tupac movie. What was your thoughts on that joint?
Man, it was a train wreck, man. I had high hopes because dude Demetrius looks like Tupac a lot in a lot of things, you know.
Now wasn't that him in Straight Outta Compton? I thought that's how he got the role. No, he was in Straight Outta Compton. That wasn't him?
It wasn't him. And it would have been great if it would have been him, because he actually looks like Tupac, and the connection is dope because his father produced a track or two on All Eyes on Me. His father was a producer in California, Death Row. You know what I'm saying? So some of the guys from Death Row back in the day, they're like, yeah, we remember when Demetrius was a little boy, when his dad was producing for a lot of our work, you know. So that was dope within itself. But he did as good as a job as he could. At times, it felt like it was a long rap video and not a movie. The ending was so cringe-worthy when he was laying there and they started playing some gospel song, and I was like, oh my God, this is the absolute worst. Why y'all do the legendary Tupac like this, man? Like, what are y'all doing? That was the worst ending ever, and then it was abruptly ended. Like, y'all ran out of money and just said, you know, whatever, it's the end of the movie. You know what I'm saying? And just it left so much to be desired, man. And I'm gonna tell you, that would have been one, because Pac life was, and they had certain scenes. He was in Marin City and Baltimore and all that. I like those parts, and I like the part when they was getting interviewed in the Clinton Correctional Facility and stuff like that. So it had its moments. But if that movie would have had that kind of Straight Outta Compton budget with the dynamic life that Tupac had, that could have been an amazing movie. And it just really, really missed the mark. Like, it took them all those years to even consider doing it. They should have took more time and did it right. It's like they wanted to get it on out there. And they really missed the mark, man. And it is not a good movie.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. I did a lot of laughing watching that movie because, like Tone said, man, it was like a long rap. Of course it is, because it was directed by a first-time director, Benny Boom, who directed rap videos. You know what I'm saying? And he needed a serious editor to go in there and cut those scenes together in a way that felt like a film, as opposed to, you know, we filmed this scene and then we filmed this scene. It was almost as if they wanted to get all the moments, but they had no idea of how to put them together.
Yes.
and it was quite evident, like Tone said. You know, I don't fault the actor. I think he did his job. You know, I think he did his job. I think there was moments where I felt like I was looking at Tupac, like you know what I mean? Plenty of moments, but just the way it was stitched together, the way they were jumping around is just like, you know, it was Tone. This is what happened to me several times, and I did a video review of this movie. I would forget who was who besides Tupac. So a lot of times when Jada Pinkett showed up on the screen and Tupac's talking to her extensively, I'm thinking like, who the hell is that?
Right.
But I didn't know. I had to look at her hairstyle and then say, oh, that's Jada Pinkett from, you know, when she was on A Different World. You know, that's how she had her hair. You know what I'm saying? So it was just little things like that. It just poorly put together. And the other movies we mentioned happened before Straight Outta Compton. And we thought after Straight Outta Compton and set the bar, the next one is going to be great too. And it was Tupac. It was almost like a no-brainer.
Right.
Had the same Suge Knight, right? I think it did have the same Suge Knight. Same actor that played Suge Knight in Straight Outta Compton was also in All Eyes on Me.
I believe it was.
Which his biggest part of playing Suge Knight was just the cigar part for the most part. But yeah, just terrible movie. I would never watch that again. I mean, I laughed a lot, but I would never watch it again. And lastly, Roxanne, a Netflix series about Roxanne Shante. Tone, when you saw this joint, what was your thoughts?
You know, I could nitpick a lot of stuff in it. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? It was so cool to see a movie about Roxanne, man, and Queensbridge, and just getting some other history, seeing Marley Marl, seeing how she used to battle when she was young. The dynamics with her mom, played by Nia Long, was Lord have mercy. She's like my favorite chick on TV. I love Nia Long from Love Bones and Boys in the Hood to now. So it was. She did a hell of a job. I thought that it depicted Roxanne in a realistic way. You know what I'm saying? And it was Netflix, man. It was cool that Netflix don't mind dipping into hip hop. They have a few hip hop specials on there right now. The fact they did this biopic for Roxanne Shante, you know, I just thought that was real cool. And I think the reason why I appreciate it more than the movie itself is I think it opened the doors for some potential biopics in the future through Netflix. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that it was successful. The ratings were pretty good on it. And, you know, it took people into the lives of her. You know, I can nitpick, you know, a little part with Nas, the little boy at the end and all that stuff. It's kind of funny. But even outside of that, you know, I saw an interview with Nas years ago, and he did say with him and his man when they was younger, they did run into Shantae and rhyme for him. And she was basically like, man, y'all get the hell out of my face till y'all serious. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So Nas did, and this is before the biopic or anything. This is years ago. Somebody asked him about Roxanne Shante, and he did tell that story. As far as like they did throw that in the movie, you know what I'm saying? But so there was a piece of that is authentic. Like Nas did rap for Shante like in the hallway of one of the buildings one time when he was like 13. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that was true. He said it was true, and Shante said, yeah, it did happen. She knew Nas was a little boy.
Mm.
You know, so all of that stuff is true. You know what I'm saying? But again, it was a kind of made for TV movie. It felt and looked out like that at times, but I'm not mad at it because that's really what it was. So my expectation wasn't like through the roof like those other movies. So I wasn't mad at it, man. And I hope that Netflix do some more.
Yeah, I liked it a lot when it came out. I think some parts of it, like you said, I felt like maybe it could have been a little shorter, only because there was just some parts you didn't need. Like the Nas part, I didn't mind as much, except I think they had two scenes together, and it made it seem as if, you know, like she was almost grooming this dude who's going to be this legend. So Nas's story sounds more realistic to me. Well, it is realistic because it's what really happened.
Yeah.
Then trying to create this thing where it's like, you know, because, you know, Roxanne Shante was this in a project, and, you know, Nas had to, you know, spit a couple verses to be anointed the next person. You know what I'm saying? But you know, all that again, that's played up for the movie. I get it. But I thought it was dope. It was a long time coming. I wrote a review for this on the shadowleague.com. A long time coming about not only telling the story of a female MC, but in this way where she's battling dudes. And she, you know, that's like her pedigree as a battle rapper. Like her whole Steez is a battle rapper, and her coming out and having these problems, and the males in the family, and
you know what too?
What's that?
I mean, to interrupt you. You know what too? I appreciate the way they show her personal life and the details in that, and it shows she was tough. And the reason why I say that is because there was an interview with KRS-One, and KRS-One said when the bridge, after he did the bridge is over, he ran into Roxanne Shante at the bank. And Roxanne Shante, you know, was young, and she walked up to him and like cursed him out. And he was like, yo, Roxanne Shante ran up on me and like gave me the business, and I couldn't sit there and say nothing because she was right. I threw her in there, and she hadn't done nothing wrong to me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So KRS was like, yeah, she was about it for real. She stepped to KRS-One. KRS-One is 6'4".
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that's what I really, really liked about it was the fact that it felt authentic. It felt authentic to the time. It felt authentic to the culture. You know, it was just unexpected because again, we were just so used to having these subpar kind of played up but not grounded in reality situations. And here you have, you know, a girl who's young, who's getting, you know, basically jerked by the record industry, who's getting pregnant, dealing with an older man, dealing with potential rape, not having a father around. You know what I'm saying? All these themes that happen to a lot of young black women in the projects and poverty, period. I love the fact that they put a spotlight on that. And it's dope. And I think it was dope for her because it did a lot for her in her career. I know now I believe she hosts a show on Sirius XM on LL's Rock the Bells station, which is old school. And, you know, like who's to say that, you know, that opportunity would have been there if it were not for this story being told like that. And, you know, everybody watching it. So I think it was definitely a good look.
Yeah, it was a good look.
Now, Tone, to end this topic, because we're going kind of long, if you had one hip-hop biopic that would be next, and you, obviously we would want it to be good, what would it be?
You know, in the future, a biopic that I would like to see would probably be Public Enemy. You know, because, you know, you got the serious character in Chuck D. I like to see his childhood, his upbringing with his parents and school and his community where he grew up in. I like to learn a little bit more about Chuck D. Because I like Chuck D. I'm a big fan of Chuck D. I like the way he presents himself on Twitter. I've spoken to him before, just we inbox each other some. He's read a couple of my joints, retweeted a couple of my joint articles on the Dome. I appreciate Chuck D. He a down-to-earth, real cool brother. You know what I'm saying? He gave me a shout-out. He actually shot me a DM recently, man, just to piece me out, man, for the website. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was real cool, man, and I really appreciate him. He's a really good brother. So I like to see his background leading up to Public Enemy and the whole thing about the Grammys and a lot of places where they were getting censored at and stuff like that. I like to see that. Of course, Flavor Flav's character is almost like damn Eddie Kane Jr. on a 5 Heartbeat. So that could be the yin and the yang. That could be very interesting to see his upbringing because, you know, a lot of people don't know that Flavor Flav on the low is kind of like a musical genius, man. Like this dude can he can read music, he can play all these different instruments, piano, all kind of stuff. Like he's like a savant, you know what I'm saying?
Classical piano at that.
Yeah, classical. A lot of people don't know that, you know what I'm saying? So I like to see, you know, his upbringing, and then you got the other, you know, Professor Griffin, his controversy, you know, and stuff like that. There's a lot of things that a movie about Public Enemy can do. You know, them being on Def Jam, and then, you know, do the right thing video. I mean, fight the power and all that. So yeah, man, I like this. I wouldn't mind seeing Public Enemy in a big budget movie like Straight Outta Compton. If it's not that, I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I agree. Big budget or don't even do it. That was actually what I was going to say also, because I said it right after I saw Straight Outta Compton. I was like, next, I want to see Public Enemy, because honestly, they are like the other side of the coin when it comes to N.W.A. You know, N.W.A. is the more aggressive. They're the more Malcolm X version, so to speak, with the aggression before Malcolm X, left the Nation of Islam. But Public Enemy is like, if you took the anger that was N.W.A, you turned that into anger, but with knowledge and the same energy. They had the same exact energy. They had the same style of beats, because some people say Dre kind of copied Bomb Squad sound for N.W.A, but it's okay. But for the sake of picking something different that I think a lot of people would go see it, I would say the Fat Boys, mainly because everybody remembers them because they're the Fat Boys. You know what I'm saying? They had movies. We did a show on the Fat Boys. They were huge. Like, they were huge stars.
Yeah, just like we did that show, and I was glad to do that show because I was a huge Fat Boy fan. Now, I guess the only thing that might hurt them was people saw them on Crush Groove and people saw them on Disorderlies, and they might look at Disorderlies like they biopic.
Yeah, well, I'll say this. The difference is again, we're talking about big budgets, so we're talking about major writers. There's a lot of turmoil behind the scenes with them. You know what I'm saying? Especially later, there's a lot that can make, not to say that their tragedy is entertainment, but this is what biopics are when you make films of them. There's a lot that we don't know, you know what I'm saying, about them in detail. Like, because, we saw glimpses or highlights of what they were as far as Disorderlies and Crush Groove. But we ain't see Buffy at home. We don't know his family. We don't know what the dynamics of their family was and how they came together as a group and what happened when they became huge as pop stars, basically, who were rappers. And then we don't know what happened once that fell. You know what I'm saying? Like we said in the show, man, Buffy passes away. He had a rough time at it. Marky D became a producer, even released a record and all of that.
Yeah.
And like it's there's a dynamic there. What's that?
And Kowalski lost all his weight.
Yeah, he lost all his weight. So there's a lot there that's not told. And I think the only reason why I say the Fat Boys is because it's not a thing that only we would know because we were there when they were large. Also, when the Fat Boys break up, Jay-Z quoting them in his song on Blueprint kind of brought their profile up. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, oh, Jay-Z was like torn when the Fat Boys broke up. Like, who are they? You know what I'm saying? I could see somebody younger saying that, like, who are the Fat Boys? You know what I'm saying? So I think there's a lot there. Originally, I was going to say Run DMC, but I think their story has been touched on a lot.
LL story is very interesting because he used to run with a lot of those drug kingpins when he was first getting on. He talked about that in that song New York Gangster. So LL can have some interesting, even Jay-Z can have some interesting. So the Outkast, to me, maybe even Lil Wayne at some point. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you, for this new generation, he can be very interesting, man. So hopefully we'll get some good biopics in the future, man, of some of our legendary acts, man.
All right, so for you watching at home or listening, what were some of your favorite biopics, hip-hop biopics? What did you think about Straight Outta Compton? Is it the best hip-hop biopic there is? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Let us know, because we definitely chime in. We check the comments. We reply, hit like buttons, all that good stuff. So do that now. Now we're going to get to the end of the show, but we're going to real quick give you a recommendation of something you should go back and listen to. And my recommendation this week is MF Doom, Born Like This, released in 2010. Tone, I wasn't a big MF Doom fan prior to this. Kind of got tired of hearing about him.
Yeah.
And started to feel like, well, what I heard I didn't really like. I hadn't listened to any albums, just really songs here and there. Wasn't really with his flow. Liked him when he was KMD, but I was just trying to figure out what is it that everybody like. And this album was the album that got me into him. This is the album where I kind of got it as far as its flow. Born Like This, released in 2010, features Raekwon, Bumpy Nuts with an intro, Ghostface, some production from Madlib, Jay Dilla, Pasta Noose is on this album. It's about close to 17 tracks, including some skits here and there. I get it. He's real. He has a certain method to his madness when he rhymes. It may sound like a bunch of words being put together for the sake of rhyming, but in some cases, it's a flow there, but it's very unorthodox. And I think that's what I started to like about it, because it was different. You know what I'm saying? It was still hip hop. It was just daring to be extremely different. If you're a homosexual, I'm just gonna warn you now. There's a song on there you may not, you probably won't like. It's called Bati Boys. He says a line in there where it's like a choice or whatever, but it's still kind of disrespectful. But I don't think that should sour the entire album or its entire catalog as a result. But it's a very dope album. Some of the Dilla beats you recognize from Donuts and other beat tapes that Dilla put out, but it's very, very dope. Like some of them, Gazillionaire Air, man, as soon as that joint pop off, you just in. So Tone, MF Doom, Born Like This. Have you heard it? What did you think about it? And what's your recommendation for this week?
Yeah, I did hear it. It's been a long time since I've heard it, but I remember it being pretty dope. And just let me say this, I argue with MF Doom fans on Twitter all the time. I do it for fun, mostly because, he has some very, very loyal fans. So I mess with them a lot, but if they really look into my tweets, I said MF Doom is dope. I give him that. He's very unique. He's very creative. His style of production, he makes dope beats himself, but of course, when he's with Madlib, they made some diamond type of songs, man. Very dope. That album is dope. His flow, actually, if you get into how his flow is actually dope, what I'm saying, in his own crazy way. You know what I'm saying? So that project is dope. The production, that Dilla stuff, Madlib, is a good joint, man. And he has a lot of work. He has a lot of music. I don't think this deviated too far from what he does on his other projects. If you're a MF Doom fan, this will make you even more of a fan. It'll keep you a fan. It won't put you to stray away from what he's giving you since he became MF Doom at the KMD. So not mad at it, man. It's cool. My recommendation this week is from 1996, which is still one of the top 3 or 4 years ever in hip hop to me. My man Nine. Sophomore album, Cloud 9. A lot of people know Nine from his 1995 debut album, Nine Live. And he had NMC and What You Want 9, you know what I'm saying, and Red Rum, so he had some bangers on that first album. But, Cloud 9 wasn't on the level of the first one, but if you was a Nine fan, he gave some nice joints, man, cool little production, a real underground. He had a track on there called Lion King, Lyin King, and it was kind of like a diss to like gangster rap and mafioso rap and flossing rap. And some people thought he was kind of taking some shots at Biggie and all of them and Raekwon and Wu-Tang and everybody, mafioso stuff called Lion King. Like you ain't really living that life, you know what I'm saying? And stop it, basically, you know what I'm saying? But that was the first single. Then he had one called Make or Take, man, with Smooth the Hustler, man. And I'm a big Smooth the Hustler fan, man. So being this 1996, that same year, Smooth the Hustler dropped his debut, Once Upon a Time in America, which is a dope album. You know what I'm saying? And so Smooth the Hustler was still riding high on Broken Language and all that. So him and Nine went back and forth, verse bars for bars on that Make or Take, man. They had a video for it too. You can go on YouTube and check out Smooth the Hustler, Make or Take, and Lion King, man. So yeah, man, I thought it was a cool album, man. 1996. You know what I'm saying? And just another, cool joint on a year that had about 30 good albums. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that Cloud9, man?
Nope. I never heard it. I liked Nine a lot when he first dropped. Later on, I used to feel I started to feel like when DMX came out, I was like, damn, this dude's like Nine almost.
Yeah, me too. I don't
know what I'm saying? Like Nine was the first DMX. You know what I'm saying?
Go back and listen to that first Nine album, man, and yeah, man, and Nine wasn't bad. Nine was kind of dope.
Yeah, he was, man. I remember I bought that album. I think I actually have it. I should have went and checked it out on cassette. I had the cassette, 9 Lives, but again, like Tone said, 9-6 was a time, man. Not only were there albums, there was freestyles on mixtapes and diss records, and Tupac was dissing everybody, and it was a lot going on. So I was kind of like in it, and there was a lot of hip hop that I missed out around that time. But I mean, you could always go back and listen at this point. So I gotta check it out. That's another one of those I gotta go and check out. I mean, look, Tone had Nostradamus on here not too long ago.
Hey, man,
and I went back and listened to it, and I was like, you know what? Tone was right. This album was much worse to me back when it dropped.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's probably more. It's probably, I mean, like the songs I don't like, I still don't like. But I remember there being more whack stuff on there than I thought, and it really wasn't. There was more stuff on there that was either dope or good, even okay, versus what was completely trash. So I had to sit there and say, okay, maybe this ain't his worst album. I don't know. But for y'all out there, go out, check out MF Doom, Born Like This, and Nine's Cloud9 out of 1996. And, let us know what you thought. You own those albums. What are your thoughts on those albums? Are they worth going back to? Leave your comments in the comment section below. That's going to do it for us for this week, man. I hope you enjoyed this extra long show, but we had to because we were talking about hip-hop biopics, and we wanted to talk in depth. Again, the comment section is always open. This podcast is available wherever you listen to podcasts. All you got to do is on your podcasting app, just search for Hip Hop Now Podcast, and right there in that same stream is That Time in Hip Hop. Or if you want to do the video thing, you can always subscribe to the B-Roll Network on YouTube. All you got to do is go on YouTube and type in the words BROLE Network and hit that subscribe button and get all the 40-something shows we got here, man. And if all of that sounds like a lot, you can just go to intothedome.com, and not only will you get the access to the video and the audio version of this podcast, but you'll get a number of articles written by the homie Tony that cover not only hip-hop, but music in general, in-depth articles about the artists and their music and their lives. So there's a lot of content we giving up for free. Show your appreciation. Visit, click on things, subscribe, like, and most importantly, share with people you know enjoy this kind of content. Go out and support real hip hop. Peace.
Peace.
Drop it on the random.